Okay, so his secret obsession.
Mm.
Huh, people keep asking about this one. Let's dive into it and see what this whole cracking the code of male attraction is all about.
Yeah, it's definitely got people talking,
Yeah.
that's for sure. There's always that kind of fascination with figuring out the whole relationship puzzle, isn't there?
Totally. And this one goes deep. They're all about this hero instinct thing. Have you heard of this?
I have. It's definitely a catchy phrase, right?
It is. But is that all it is?
Yeah.
Catchy. They're saying every guy out there, deep down, needs to feel like a hero, especially when it comes to their relationships.
Right, right. Well, on the surface, it might seem a bit simplistic, like something out of a cheesy action movie, you know?
Exactly.
But there's a kernel of truth there if you dig a little deeper. Think about it, everyone. Men and women alike, we crave feeling needed, feeling appreciated.
Well, absolutely.
So this hero instinct, it's basically packaging those very human needs, but framing it in a way that specifically speaks to men.
So it's less about this like biological urge and more about how it's presented.
Exactly. It's all about the framing, and that's where they get you hooked, because who doesn't want to feel like a hero?
Right. Makes you wonder about the rest of their methods, though. Like, how do you actually activate this so-called instinct?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. They talk about these secret signals, specific things women can say or do to supposedly trigger this hero instinct in their man. Things like, and this is straight from their playbook, the glimpse phrase or the damsel in distress signal.
Okay, damsel in distress already has me raising an eyebrow. Doesn't that feel a little, I don't know, manipulative? Like, are we really going back to those kinds of dynamics?
Yeah, it definitely raises some questions, doesn't it? And to be honest, we'll get into this more later, but some of the techniques they suggest do walk a fine line between, let's say, encouraging a certain type of dynamic and maybe venturing into territory that might not feel so great in the long run.
I'm getting that vibe, too. And for our listener, if you're curious about these secret signals we're talking about, we've got a link in the description to the official His Secret Obsession website so you can check it out for yourself.
Always good to see it firsthand. But yeah, they really play up this idea that women hold the keys to unlocking this heroic potential in their men.
Interesting. So they've got us hooked on this idea, and now they're saying we have the power to, what, control it?
In a way, yeah,
Yeah.
that's certainly the implication. And to illustrate this whole secret signal thing, they use this example of a woman named Rachel. Now, according to them, Rachel wins her ex back using just one 12-word text message.
Hold on, wait. One text. That's all it took. Come on, that sounds a bit too good to be true, even if you believe all this hero instinct stuff.
Right. It's a pretty bold claim, and that kind of highlights a big thing about his secret obsession. They rely heavily on these anecdotal stories, stuff that sounds amazing but might not hold up under closer scrutiny. You know, individual results may vary and all that.
So should we be taking these stories with a grain of salt, even the ones they present as like proof that their method works?
Exactly. It's good to keep in mind that these stories, while compelling, are just that, stories. They don't guarantee the same results for everyone. Every relationship is different.
That's reassuring. So this isn't some quick fix or like one weird trick kind of thing. His secret obsession. It's a whole program, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's not just about sending the magic text message and bam, your relationship problems are solved. They've got a whole system, a whole approach to supposedly unlocking this hero instinct.
So what does that actually look like?
Yeah, it's more like, think of it as a roadmap or something. They lay out these principles, these secret signals, and you're supposed to apply them, kind of tailor them to your own relationship and your guy.
So they give you like actual scripts, like here's what to say if he does this kind of thing.
Not exactly, no. It's more about understanding like the psychology behind it all. And then, you know, you take that understanding and try to communicate in a way that aligns with it authentically, hopefully.
Okay, so less about memorizing lines, more about getting the gist and making it your own.
Right. And they're big on this whole long-term strategy thing. The idea that if you can consistently like trigger this hero instinct in your man, it'll create this deeper, stronger bond over time.
Interesting. But still, even if it's not meant to be manipulative like you were saying earlier, doesn't it seem risky? Like, what if you accidentally send the wrong secret signal?
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a surefire thing, is it? Relationships are messy and people are complicated.
Exactly.
And they do acknowledge that, to be fair. They talk about how communication is a two-way street. And sometimes you got to feel things out, you know? What works for one couple might totally backfire with another.
It's a trial and error.
In a way, yeah. They'd probably call it like fine-tuning or something. But the idea is you got to be observant, pay attention to how your guy responds to different things, and then adjust accordingly.
So it's like those communication workshops couples do, right? Not about quick fixes, but more about figuring out how to actually, like, get each other.
Yeah, there's definitely some overlap there. It's about investing in the relationship, learning new ways to connect on a deeper level.
Yeah.
But of course, like with anything like this, you got to take it with a grain of salt, you know? Use your best judgment.
Always. So back to the hero instinct for a sec. Is this really something we should be trying to activate in the first place? Shouldn't a partner's desire to be there for you, to step up, shouldn't that be like a given?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, this is where things get a little, I don't know, philosophical maybe. The program argues that, yeah, men might have this innate desire to be the hero, but it needs to be nurtured, you know, triggered in the right ways.
They're not manipulating them into being who we want them to be, but
Yeah.
more like understanding these supposed needs they have.
Yeah.
And then, I guess, communicating in a way that makes them feel appreciated.
Yeah, that's their angle for sure. And they're super careful to frame it as being about respect. Like, this isn't about diminishing a man's intelligence or independence or anything like that.
Okay, because that would be a hard no.
For sure. It's more about, like, respecting this inherent desire they supposedly have to be needed and appreciated within the relationship.
Right, right. To feel like they've got your back and you've got theirs. But are they really getting that from a program like this? Or are they just buying into, like, a fantasy?
It's a valid question, and this is where it gets tricky, because there's no easy answer. The effectiveness of this whole his secret obsession thing, it probably depends a lot on the people involved and how they use it, you know?
So not a guaranteed recipe for relationship bliss.
Definitely not. Like we were saying before, relationships are complicated. You got to put in the work, got to be willing to communicate and understand each other. This program might give you some tools, some things to think about, but it's not going to magically solve all your problems.
Right, it's not a magic wand.
Yeah.
More like maybe a new lens to look through.
Exactly. And for some people, that might be helpful, you know? But again, it's all about taking what works for you and leaving the rest.
Totally agree. So we've talked about this hero instinct, the secret signals, the whole ethics of it all. What's the bottom line? Is this his secret obsession program worth checking out? So is this it? Is his secret obsession the answer to all our relationship woes? I don't know about all that, but it's definitely given us some things to think about.
It has. And, you know, whether or not their methods are the be-all and end-all, they do hit on something really important. Making your partner feel appreciated, that's huge in any relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And not just appreciated, but like valued, like they've got a role to play.
Exactly. That they bring something to the table. And you know what? That desire to feel needed, it's pretty universal, isn't it? Not just a guy thing.
Oh, absolutely.
No.
Not at all. I think we all crave that feeling of being important to someone, you know?
Totally. And his secret obsession, love it or hate it, it reminds us that sometimes those needs might show up in ways we don't expect.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So it's not about literally turning your guy into Superman, but about recognizing that deep down, those very human longings for connection, for purpose, they don't just disappear because it's the 21st century.
Exactly. It's like you're tapping into something deeper, something that goes beyond all the roles and expectations we put on ourselves.
Absolutely. It's about that fundamental need to connect, to build something real with someone, and to feel like you matter. And honestly, that's something we could all use a little more of, right?
Couldn't agree more. And hey, whether or not his secret obsession program has all the answers, it's sparked a conversation, hasn't it? Got us thinking about these things, and that's never a bad thing.
Totally agree. It's been a fascinating deep dive for sure. We've covered a lot of ground, but hey, that's what we do here, right? And for our listener, if you're as intrigued by this his secret obsession thing as we are, don't forget, we've got that link in the description where you can check it out for yourself.
Definitely worth a look. And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about yourself, about your partner, about what makes relationships tick, the better equipped you'll be to create something truly amazing.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap things up for today. Remember, a fulfilling relationship, it's a two-way street. It's about mutual respect, understanding, and that shared desire to build something special, something that stands the test of time.